Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So we are going to talk about the retro game, or the RG99. For the people familiar to the channel and to the products, this was a handheld that is very confusing. Simply because it looks like a retro game 300, but it is not. No, I can already tell you, spoiler alert. So the inside we're going to get the handheld itself, but I just was curious what are we going to get more. We're having here a Type-C cable for charging data transfer. And here we have the manual. We have a very deluxe manual. And the first thing that I do notice is that this menu doesn't look like the open dingus. So does this mean with this handheld we don't have open dingus anymore? Because that was more the features of the previous model. That was pretty damn awesome. So open dingus was more like a complete package that you're going to get. There we can, let's say, add new emulators and can do such awesome stuff like playing homebrew games. So the device itself weighs quite heavy, and it has exactly the same form factor. At the back we're having two shoulder buttons over here. At the bottom we're having the connection for headphone, Type-C for charging. At the front we're having A, B, X, Y, so basically having 6 buttons to control the game. So that is more than enough for, let's say, the basic 16-bit arcade stuff. But when you're going to play, let's say, PlayStation 1, you will notice that you're missing out buttons. We have a D-pad. The previous models, the D-pad was very nice. Very curious about this, how this is going to play. Select start, and we're having 2 buttons over here. On-and-off switch at the left, and here we're having the TF card slot, but there is nothing in it. I'm just sticking my finger in it. There's nothing in it, wicked. And here we're having the BP5L, and there is a very strange thing going on with this battery. So far I know, if you look it up on AliExpress, you can't find this exact model. I did notice some comments, people were complaining, hey, do you know where to find the battery? And I couldn't find it. So if you know, let me know in the comments, because that was a very strange thing. I couldn't find it anywhere. Okay, so let's power it on. And the first thing that I'm already noticing, and I think you didn't hear it, this thing has a vibration function. And so far I know the 300, both models, the IPS and non-IPS, didn't have this. Alright, so while powering on, I was quite disappointed, and the reason why, when you're looking at the menu, this is very familiar with the Retro Mini, and there are some other devices are running on this software. And I'm guessing they didn't fix the issues of the previous models, like we're having here the picture mode, video mode. Yeah, there are just fun modes that you can watch a video, watch a pretty picture, you know. But at the end, I don't buy this stuff like to watch a video on it, because the display itself is way too small for it. Let's take a close look at the settings menu. We're having here disk set. Language, sound, I'm guessing more like the selection sound. We're having backlight time and the system information. Okay, let's see. As you can see, he is already giving you the sign. Don't do it. If you do so, you will mess up your system. When you're looking at the display itself, they do give us this IPS display, and it looks beautiful. So they didn't downgrade it with this, because in the previous videos I didn't notice when they're bringing out, that's more like a cheaper edition or a different model, they're always going to be, let's say, giving us this shitty display. But they didn't do this time. So let's take a close look at the game option, and I'm guessing this is the feature that everybody buys this thing for. We're having here the U-Disc. The U-Disc is basically more like a disc or a built-in games, and it seems to be that there are a lot of naughty games. It comes including this little picture that you can see what are you going to get, what kind of game, because I can't read the text over here. The SD card function, of course, I've shown you before, there is an SD card function here at the left side where you can basically add your own games. Okay, so let's listen to the speaker on the right bottom. Very curious how this is going to sound. I must say the sound doesn't go that loud. That's it, maximum volume. Seriously? Yeah. So we don't have an analog stick, so the D-pad needs to be perfect in my opinion. And this D-pad feels quite nice, doesn't have a very long travel, so let's try it out and let's see how it plays. Ah, the D-pad is not bad. That's a positive thing. Oh. But I have this idea that the sound itself is just so horrible, but the emulation itself is not the worst I've seen. No, not bad at all. But the sound, I'd rather play it like this. See, that's better. When pressing select and start at the same time, we're going to get the option to do in quick load and quick save, as you can see over here. Pressing the button, you go into the menu and you have the option to make a slot. And there are so I can see we're having quite some different slots to save your game. So that's pretty cool. speaker doesn't sound that great. It doesn't matter what the volume. No. Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen. The sound is awful, and it is exactly the same problem like the Retro Mini Arcade, the Retro Mini, you name it, it's all still running on the same shitty software. Oh, my ears are bleeding again. Oh, that sound. Oof. You can see it runs really choppy. Oh, no. That sound effect sounds really horrible. Oh, I can't help it. This D-pad plays so nice. The button and input is just great, but it's just a poor shitty emulation. Like always. So then is the question, is it still playable for you? Play it like this. Look, this is more. Oh, this is way better. That sounds even better than the freaking soundtracks. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. Just let it on mute. Every game sounds pretty horrible. So I did notice that in general the emulation is not super bad. I have seen some shitty emulation in my life, but this, just why? Why didn't you fix the sound issue? Time for the wiki quickie, yeah, because we're going to do this comparison with the Retro Game 300, which you can see over here. Did this review quite some time ago. It was a really cool device, I still like it. The BP5L, yeah, I already mentioned, it's a very strange battery that is very hard to find. So what are the differences? So if you're looking at the shell itself, basically it's the same like the Retro Game 300. But what I do notice that the two buttons here in the middle are doing basically nothing. If you're pressing it in a game, it doesn't do anything. You need to press select to start for going to the quick load, quick save menu. But let's take a close look at the back, because here we're having the major differences. So I was hoping more like, okay, maybe I can do this swapping the SD card and get the OpenDingus installed, but you can see there is no option for it. So we are basically stuck with it. Stuck with this freaking annoying shitty software. But there is something else you just need to know. When you're looking at over here the details of the product or the information, you see it says Retro Game 99 version 1.0. This means that we have the first released version 2019 when it is produced. And that is more like an indication that is just a completely new kind of mainboard that they made, and it is not more like a revision of the Retro Game 300 itself. So what also is a little bit of a problem is that when looking at the battery, they did some things that I'm not happy with. So with this version you can see we're having this plastic bottom that protects the battery inside, and this just has some, I think some sticky stuff on it to put it in position in the compartment. You can see it is IPS version, but still, man, I'm real bummed out seeing that it's just a new product and they just make a big mess of it. So the Anbenic RG99 is absolutely a rip-off from the other one. But the question remains like, how good is it when you're going to slap some software on it? And that is something I wanted to do in the future. There's already a community out there that released a new firmware for this to make it way better than it already is. And I think this thing will have more potential to play some retro games on the go. The price itself is I think it's quite high, so this thing is in the end like expensive. Let me know in the comments what do you think of the RG99, even if it's going to have better software. Well, thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.